and welcome to Gen Z TV. I'm your host, Katie George, and welcome again to our show. In today's episode, we're talking about Gen Z in the workplace and why our relationship with work becomes misunderstood. Being negatively labelled can affect how young workers are hired. This is why under the Equality Act, age is a protected characteristic, and yet, age-based stereotypes against young people are still incredibly common. Each generation passes on the idea that young people are lazy or just don't want to work. But when you look at what's actually happening, a different story appears, especially for us today keeping up with the changing online world. To get a real sense of how young people feel about the world of work right now, one of our pioneering journalists, Marianne, went across our university campus to speak with students. Here's what they had to say.
Some people say that Gen Z workers don't want to suffer for their careers. We're here at Kingston to know people's opinion on this, whether they agree or disagree.
In a way, that is true, and that younger people don't like to struggle and suffer as much when they want their dream career and job, because in the older generation there was a lot more classism and social divide in classes, and there wasn't as much workers' rights. So I feel like they were much more desensitized to struggling in the older generations, and they had to put in like the extra mile to get the minimum, the bare minimum. Whereas like in this generation, we have so much like workers' rights that have been given to us. So I think in a way it makes our generation more sensitive to struggle.
I would agree with that statement, because I feel like the era and time zone that we live in today means that we have a lot more resources than the older generation did, and as a result of which we can use that resources to help benefit us, and hence means that we don't have to work as hard as the older generation did. They would have to do traditional methods of studying, whereas today we have artificial intelligence. So yeah, I'll say that definitely we don't have to work hard, not because we don't want to, but simply because of the times, the era that we live in.
Do you think that the younger generation don't want to work as hard or differently as the old generation? Because we have other problems to deal with. We've got the cost of living crisis, we've got other factors, personal, emotional issues that may not have been in their cases.
Personally, I do think that Gen Z is working hard enough, just like their earlier peers. I just feel like we have access to better resources, so it appears on the forefront that we're doing less.
I think I'll disagree with that statement, because it's really, we live in a generation now, there's so many different types of people. You have people who want to do the easy way out, they want to use resources whatever they can, and then there's other people who get from the bottom and they want to get to the top. I feel like a majority of the people obviously would like to have an easier way, but that's not to say that the whole generation is like, they don't want to suffer, they don't want to work hard. So many people I've met here in the Zoom even, they work constantly in the library, they're in the studio, they're working all the time, just like how the generations before us did. Maybe in a different environment, maybe we have an easier work than they did, but it's not like their effort is any less. They still put in their effort, they grind, they do what they can to get where they want to be.
Thank you, Marianne. Those responses supported what we felt too as a full team of Gen Z. According to BBC Work Life, many young workers are actually starting at a disadvantage. In that article, they reference a study suggesting that AI could replace up to 300 million full-time jobs worldwide. So when older generations say that Gen Z lacks loyalty, the truth might be simpler. Gen Z isn't disloyal, we're scared of being replaced. But when we want to work a 9-to-5 job, can we even find one? The World Economic Forum found that entry-level job postings have dropped by 29%, meaning there's less jobs available. At the same time, 54% of Gen Z are actively job hunting, so there's a demand not being met. This could mean that Gen Z isn't resisting the future, we're just trying to keep up with it. We also value balance, mental health and purpose, with our idea of hard work not being defined by staying late in the office. We see hard work as digital, adaptive and creative, and know there isn't only one typical route to success and growth. Today I'm joined with local manager James Hooper, who's experienced hiring Gen Z.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, you right?
Yeah, I'm good.
When working with Gen Z, do you feel that they lack any qualities that the older generation have in the workplace?
With the new technologies now, yeah, Gen Z is the right way to be going now. They're more quicker to pick up with the technology. They've got a different style of working as well, smarter. Regarding the older generation, is slower to keep up with the new technology.
Thank you. And what do you admire about Gen Z in the workplace?
Well, Gen Z in the workplace, what I've noticed is they don't like getting up early. However,
Yeah.
once they are up, you can rely on them with how many hours you want them to go.
I would definitely agree with
Yeah.
that. And finally, which generation do you think works the hardest, or would you not make a comparison?
Well, I won't call it a comparison, but the Gen Z works smarter and clever, and the older generation is just set in their ways, I'm afraid.
Thank you for those responses. And we also want to see how this looks like from an older perspective, someone who's seen the workplace evolve. So here's David speaking with Dr. Colette, a senior lecturer at the university. Let's see what she has to say.
What can older generations do to help Gen Z find work?
I think what we can do in the organisations we work is ensure that any kind of roles that come up are filled by younger people. I mean, I kind of feel at Kingston and media, a lot of us are a lot older and we need younger people. So I think it's for us in the organisations we're in to encourage the employment of young people.
What advice would you give Gen Z to help find themselves?
Every young person wants to work. So anything that says they doesn't know young people, because you want your own income, you want a flat, you want a future. It's about knowing who you are as a person. So it's about everybody has a unique selling point. It's about who you are. It's about your belief in yourself. You offer employers something that the next person doesn't, and that's you. And so that's what you have to develop is belief in your own qualities, your own abilities, what you can add to it, and don't let them get you down. You know, if it takes 100 interviews, it takes 100 interviews. You just have to keep on going.
Yeah.
That's my best advice, and that you will find work. I think the government can do more to help young people. They're talking about more apprenticeships, which I really do agree with. I think apprenticeships are a great thing. But I think there needs to be more government support. I think young people can believe in themselves, but there have to be those opportunities out there for them.
Thank you, David, and thank you, Colette, for your insight. What I found interesting is that Colette works with young people, and this has allowed her to foster a natural understanding. This really brings us back to the idea that this should be a conversation that both sides need to participate in. Coming back to our studio guest, after hearing student voices and Colette's perspective, is there anything else you'd like to add?
Oh yes, going forward, I think Gen Z is the right way, with the exception of them not getting up early or they've got exams. They're quite flexible, and I think it's good to have them on board.
Thank you. And this is a great note to end our discussion on. This brings us to the end of tonight's episode of Gen Z TV. If there's one thing we've learned is that Gen Z isn't rejecting work, we're redefining it. Thank you to our guests, our crew, and everyone watching.